Harrison, you noticing significant difference in the secondary with so many more veterans than you had a year ago at this time?
Yeah. It's always great to have a good mix of guys, young guys, vet guys, guys that have been around, played in this system, different systems. You can kind of bring a lot to the table. So it's been great working with everybody that we have, but having some vet presences like Pat, like Breland, like McKenzie coming back. Those are, you've kind of been through a little bit more. Everybody individually around the league, and then collectively, it can help.
What are some of the specific things maybe you've seen Patrick Peterson tell young cornerbacks, or pointers he's given them, and that sort of thing?
Technique things. He can play press man a lot of different ways. He can play off man a lot of different ways. He's obviously had a ton of success in this league, and it's awesome having him here. So he's not only a great player, but he's a great tool for those young guys as well.
He likes to kind of pick your brain at the same time he's working with you. What have you liked with him so far?
And he's a smart player. He's athletic. He gets to the ball. He has a great feel for what offenses are trying to do to us, and we've had great communication. So when he says he's picking my brain, I'm picking his too. I can learn plenty from him and the success he's had in this league, and it's been it's been pretty good so far. We obviously have a lot of work to do, but any time you got safeties back there that are communicating well and kind of on a string together, it really makes the defense operate a lot more smoothly.
What did you guys miss the most with Barr being gone for so much of last season?
A lot. It's not just his play. He's the guy who calls the huddle, who, when things are scrambling around, he oftentimes the voice of reason. He can rush, he can cover, he can do all those things. There's not a lot of big bodies like that can move and cover like he does. So all of those things, plus just his presence, his leadership, his communication ability, his ability to get the defense all on the same page, because those things are just going to happen naturally no matter how prepared you are and how ready you are for each game. Sometimes you're going to have some plays here and there where you're going to have to figure it out, and he's one of the best at that.
How has he grown at that role, the green dot role? How has he, started in 2014 as a rookie, he's calling defense all these years later. Like, where have you seen him, make the biggest strides in that effect?
He's always been really good at it when he started, but I would say those type of instances are where he's probably grown the most, where maybe it's not the perfect situation or the perfect call, but we get something out there and we get all 11 guys playing the same defense. Sometimes there's some judgment calls you got to make to make sure we're all playing the same thing, and he's great with that. He's great at recognizing formations and seeing indicators pre-snap, which is hard to do when you're that close to the line of scrimmage. It's easier as a safety. You've got a better view of everything, but he's got great vision.
When an injury like that happens, how are leadership and communication responsibilities then distributed? Do you find yourself doing more, other people having to pick up the slack? How does that get distributed?
Yeah, it kind of naturally played out last year. Kind of like you mentioned, you kind of got to pick up some slack some places. Safeties and linebackers are generally doing a lot of communication as is. So when one of the main guys is out, obviously whoever's filling the role has to come in and try to do those same things. But if there's some things that need to get over communicated, maybe put it on the safeties. Eric's obviously great with those things as well.
You got Peterson wearing number 7. What do you think about some of these defensive backs running around single digits?
Yeah, I like it. It's obviously new to the NFL, but I think those guys outside always like to have those numbers anyway. So when you're growing up, guys want, Deion was wearing 2 back in the day. Charles Woodson was wearing 2 in college. So it's fun for the fans. It's cool.
How tough has Kirk being gone been, and how much is there an internal concern with this team that that could repeat itself on a game day or right before a game, just as far as key players not being available because they're not vaccinated?
What was the first part?
How much of a concern has Kirk's absence just been for a week of practice, which obviously is valuable.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I know he's following all the protocols, so it's unfortunate that it happened, but you got to keep practicing and, like we were talking about, pick up slack where you need to get the reps in. And really all you can do is follow the protocols, and that's how we got to operate.
Until yesterday, there was a chance that Jeff Gladney was going to return to this team. Now that he's officially off, how do you react in the locker room? You guys went through, knew him pretty well last year.
Yeah, we just focus on the guys that are here and what we can do each day in practice. It's not a player deal. We just trying to figure out cover three.
Where's the overall chemistry and communication levels on the back end in terms of making those checks and adjustments as you break in a couple new guys?
Did you say the chemistry?
Yeah, the chemistry and communication as you break in a couple new corners and Xavier.
Yeah, that's those are like the things that you can't necessarily see on film all the time, because pre-snap signals or talking or just anything to be on the same page. It's gone well, like we were talking about, with having some vets in and also having some young guys that are learning the game. It's a good mix, and it's a good group to kind of gel together. So the chemistry's been pretty good as far as that goes. Obviously, you have to stay on top of it day to day, but also as the games start coming around, things get a little more detailed. So we'll have to continue to grow in that area.
Around a long time and seen guys come and go, and then the ones that come back. For those who have come back, whether it's dating back to Sendejo or Sheldon Richardson, those guys now, what's kind of the initial impression, or I guess kind of that process of integrating guys back into a defense they were once in, but also kind of their take on why they came back from your perspective?
Yeah, I think a lot of the guys you mentioned, have played in really good defenses here. And if you go somewhere else and it's maybe not quite the same, it's probably natural to want to come back and not only like play in a good scheme under a good coach and good coaches, but the guys around you as well can make things not easy or anything, but there's like when the communication is on point and guys are taking care of their job, your job becomes like less stressful, I guess. And I think that's what I've seen from a lot of the guys that have come back, is that they feel that when they come back here. So I think it's just kind of a collective thing about being back in this defense. And the defense also, it evolves year to year as well. So it's not exactly the same. There's obviously new things you got to pick up on, that I got to pick up on, and I've been here the whole time. But it's definitely good to have some of these faces back.
Among those new things you got to pick up on, there's two new quarterbacks within your division, whereas it had been kind of stable with the same three for a couple of years. How much does that kind of change? How much of a challenge is that when you have to adjust to teams that now have new quarterbacks after you've been used to the same thing for several years?
We'll see as the time comes and we start getting into game planning. But you play, like we've played Goff multiple times when he was in LA. You play a ton of different type of quarterbacks, so you just adjust accordingly, and we'll make those adjustments when we get there. Thank you.